Attention pro athletes. Want to secure your financial legacy and thrive off the field? Oakbridge Wealth Management, led by wealth manager Chris Anicetti, is your dedicated financial planning ally. But don't take it from me. Take it from the Dallas Cowboys' Tyler Biadasz. He says, Chris set goals financially and has been incredibly impactful in my journey in the NFL. Experience our customized, comprehensive approach, trusted by top NFL players. Don't leave your financial success to chance. Connect with Chris on Instagram at OakbridgeWM_Anicetti. That's OakbridgeWM_ANICETE. And let Oakbridge Wealth Management.
Bernstein again. Big opening. Pass 5. Pass 10. Burns a man. And he goes all the way to the 15-yard line. 17 yards out of the
Welcome back to Believe in Badgers on the Believe Network, presented by betonline.ag and Oakbridge Wealth Management. Once again, I'm Matt Perkins, joined, as always, by Badger legend, the Hebrew Hammer himself, Matt Bernstein. Bernie, how are we doing today?
Every day is a holiday. We're going to Madison soon. We're going to watch. It's my third game. It's exciting, man. We got one of the most beautiful human beings, physically and not physically, here to help. I think both the Mats walk back off the ledge a little bit, where I feel like I've army crawled too. I'm scared of heights, definitely scared of heights. So I would army crawl. But Travis, we're very happy to have you back, my friend.
I appreciate it, fellas. It's good to be back with my Mats, and I'm honored to be back in the presence of you guys.
Well, it's always an honor to have you. I think this is the third time returning champ here. One of our favorite guests of all time. Who are we kidding? Travis is one of our favorite guys of all time. I think last time you were here was just post Fick hire back in December.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff has happened in the last 11 months. We're going to get into that here in just a second. Before we do, want to remind the good folks tuning in wherever they are throughout the known galaxy that we are presented by betonline.ag, where they continue to be your number one source for all of your online sports wagering needs. You name it, they've got it over there at BetOnline. Head on over to the website or use your mobile device to sign up and receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit with our promo code BELIEVE. That's BLEAV. BetOnline, where the game starts. We are going to start sort of pick up where Bernie and I left off on Monday Morning Fullback this week, because I'm not going to lie, Travis, we were in a pretty dark place after this past weekend. You're in the house for all of these games, and what was just sort of, let's talk about the last couple weeks. Let's talk about the last 2 weeks. What do you see as the number one issue facing this Badger team at the moment?
I think consistency. I think the way we started in the beginning of this season, obviously we knew that we were coming in and we were trying to form our identity as far as an air raid offense, as far as what we're going to do defensively, bringing in new coaches, putting players. And I think one of the biggest things is putting players in positions to where it's almost like we're bringing in a new offense and we're making the players fold to that specific offense. But I felt like we were in the trajectory to grow, to get better. We were coming more accustomed to the play calls, and we were being innovative as far as the play calls. And And I think as far as the Ohio State game, that was probably our most full-oriented game that we've actually played as a team. Okay. And I think up until that game, we could have actually won every single game. And then since then, it's gone downhill. It's disappointing. I don't know where to. It's disappointing. I thought we were at a stage to where we could finally be like, okay, well, this is who we are. This is where we're going to finish the season. And then it's like we're a completely different team now. So,
Travis, you bring up a great point, because after Ohio State, I was riding super high. I'm like, man, we competed. They scored a touchdown late. We only really gave up. What was the ending score? 24-10?
Yeah.
24-10.
Yeah.
I mean, against number 3 in the nation, no one was giving us a chance. And so to me, that was I was impressed with the way the guys played.
Yeah.
They're just like, they went out. It felt like they went out and they just played football, had a good time, and were the underdogs. And then we came into Indiana, and it just felt. Listen, I've played in games like that where you go to a team, and you lose, and it's an ugly, ugly, ugly game. But usually, it's a bounce back to a Northwestern team that's really not doing much this year, and at home, and we just lost. I felt like that was our redeeming game. Let's go to a bowl. Let's win out, and let's see what happens. And it just seems like we're regressing in the last 2 weeks, and to a point where it's getting a little weird. Like in the media, it's getting a little weird to hear Hunter Wohler start calling out not people in particular, but calling out teammates. That's
and I love that.
But okay, I don't not love it. I think I would. He did it the right way. He is not calling anyone's name out, but I would.
Yeah.
I mean, we'd be on the dub if he was calling my name. Like you'd be fighting.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
But there has to be that.
But and that's the thing is we're in a completely different generation of football. Matt, y'all would have whooped my butt if that would have happened. This isn't the same type of football that was 5 years ago or 10 years ago or 20 years ago. Like it's a different. I mean, even in to Hunter's point, like when he said, watching Wisconsin football, this isn't what I signed up for. He watched guys get their butts whooped. Like he knows the smash mouth type of football. And right now, that's not it. And I know I stressed last year about accountability and all that. This is something different. This is something different.
Do you think it's lack of leadership from players? Do you think we have a lot of transfer portal guys? So the look of the team, dudes aren't there for 5. A lot of guys actually are there for 5 or 6 years. But does that have any effect on the locker room?
You know what? That's a tough. As far as the leadership aspect, again, every single person that Chris McIntosh brought in, I felt from Luke Fickell down to Mike Tressel and Phil Longo. Like I think those are the guys that have the right mindset. Now, and Hunter Wohler said it again. Like football is a game to where it's like you can't have some buy in and some don't. Like it's either we're all in or we're not because the chemistry isn't going to connect. Now, as far as the transfer portal, again, this when you and I played, this wasn't an option. Like it's you don't get the option. You don't get the option to if you go somewhere and you don't play 1 year. You get to hop to a team the next year and figure it out after that. You sign up for this, and this is why we want guys to do research and guys to look forward to having the opportunity to play with that motion W on their helmet. And I don't see any of that right now, and that's what it's coming down to.
So you said you liked what Hunter said. Is it because he's taking accountability as the leader on the team? Like, what makes you say, like, yes, that's what I want to see out of these guys?
Well, what he said is that like it's and again in the interview you can sit there and call everybody else out other than himself, but he called himself out. But at the same time, it comes down to us. Like, for instance, you can look at a Jim Harbaugh and the situation that they're going through, and he wasn't there coaching, and they still ended up whooping butt. Like and Hunter said it's about the players. It's about the players. The scheme is great. Again, the trajectory that this team was going, I was excited about. And I don't see the same energy. Again, I want a team full of dogs. Like, I don't see that. I really don't. And it comes down to holding each other accountable. And there's just so much. There's been one of the craziest things that Coach Chris said to me when I played it is that he came up to me, or one of the coaches came up to him and said that Travis is complaining about getting him the ball. And I said, well, Coach, I said, well, what did you say? He said, well, damn. I said, well, get Travis the ball. and yeah, it's funny, but that's something that I took upon myself. And I wanted the ball in big time situations. I wanted to put the team on my back. And looking from an offensive standpoint, I'm struggling to find it. It's frustrating. It's very frustrating.
Yes, I think as football players, it's, alumni, it's very frustrating. Do you think, Travis, because you were there during a time when there was transition from head coach, it's, to me, that was very different. We had the guy was coaching on our team. He was Barry's dude. He was vouched for. He didn't make huge changes. I mean, he did bring a couple guys in. Some guys got let go. But this was like a clean house. So do you think the transition has been difficult on some of the guys in the locker room? That's what I got from Hunter Wohler, saying like these guys are struggling to figure out if this was the team they signed up for. I got a little bit of that. Does the transition have an effect mentally on a bunch of these guys?
The transition has an effect on the guys up into the Ohio State game. What happened at Indiana, what happened at Northwestern is unacceptable.
Totally.
I completely get bringing in the guys, but
so let's talk about some positive then, because I want to be positive. We have Nebraska this weekend.
Yeah,
there's going to be a lot of internal things happening that I'm sure none of us are going to be privy to, which we shouldn't be. Travis, people would fight in the locker room. Like, it would get pretty nasty.
Yeah.
No, yeah. I don't remember punches being thrown, but people would wrestle each other very hard, like hard. And it got worked out that way. I don't want this for this team. I'm not suggesting that these guys can fight with each other. All I'm suggesting is we have this opportunity to get to a bowl game. And I think that should be the only thing people are thinking about moving forward. So what do you think's happening in the locker room, and how important, because Nebraska's a winnable game. Minnesota might be difficult. It's a whole different ball game when you play Minnesota, but Nebraska's winnable. And that's a bowl game to get us to a bowl game. And it's at home at night. So what do you think's happening in the locker room? And then how important is this one game to our entire program?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think it comes down to accountability. I don't know. I mean, I think last year you can watch football and say that Nick Herbig was an extremely influential person on the defensive side of the ball. Keanu Benton. I don't. Where are we seeing that? Where are we seeing guys step up and grabbing the team together? Okay, I want to hear stories about how Tanner Mordecai was bringing guys together in the offseason like Tom Brady was when he went over to Tampa. Like, that's the stuff that I want to hear. I haven't seen. I think right now we're pointing fingers, trying to figure out who to point them at. And I think a big thing is the amount of hype that was going into the season. I think that really is our one of the biggest verdicts right now. Now, until we find guys that are going to step up and hold each other accountable, I don't know. We need to. I mean, there's 2 games left in the season. It's too late to form your identity. But at the same time, hey, for some of these guys, it's their senior season. You best believe I'm not going out like that. Like this is my legacy. This is my legacy that you guys have the opportunity to make me great, to go out on a high note, or make it worse, fellas. I gave my all. Please reach out. Please give me your hand. So that's a tough situation. I think this is a beatable team that we're playing come Saturday. But after the Ohio State game, from what I've seen from that and the opponents after that, it's frustrating.
Well, Travis, let's talk about some of like that adversity, because the 2008 team that you were on had a fair bit of struggles that fall. I mean, you guys ended up finishing, I think, like 6-6 in the regular season as well. Went to a bowl game, but there was a 4-game losing streak in the middle of that season. When you guys lose to Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, and Iowa 4 games in a row. Do you remember what the mood was? I think that was your only 4-game losing streak in your history at Wisconsin. Do you remember what the mood was like in the locker room at like sort of your lowest point that season?
Yeah, we had guys that were trying to figure it out, and I'm sure the guys
trying to figure it out.
So, what's going on with us? I mean, obviously, we went on a 4-game losing streak, and we're calling arguably right now the best 4 teams in the Big Ten. But at that point where we had the opportunity to be great. Like, we had potential to be great. We had great players, and we had guys that were taking leadership, guys that were taking responsibility and saying, hey, fellas, come on. I don't know what is going on with you guys, but somebody needs to snap into it. And it's always great when you have a defensive guy coming over to the offensive side of the ball like, man, what is going on? I think people were holding each other accountable. And yes, it was extremely frustrating and infuriating that you go on a streak like that. But I want guys to step up. I want guys to step up. And again, you can't expect people, every generation and every football player, to have the same mindset like the next guy. But at least have the mindset of being great. At the end of the day, that's what it comes down to, is being great. Hold yourself accountable. Give your all. That's all I'm asking. And right now, I don't see that.
Listen, we have what, 20? It could be 22 years in a row going to a bowl. Is that right, Matt Perkins?
It's 22 years in a row going to a bowl, 22 years in a row with a winning record.
I mean, that to me is now important. It doesn't. That to me is now what everyone on the team's goal should be. It can be, to me, that it can be that little, because one, you get the seniors out on a high note, you get to travel, you get to do all these fun things. Dude, I was there when we went 5-7. That was the last team to not go to a bowl. Let me tell you, that mood was horrible. Nobody wanted to be a part of it. The coaches hated us. And honestly, like, a lot of us hated we hated ourselves. Like, you don't want to be you don't come to Wisconsin to lose, right? So it's hard to hear Hunter Wohler say these things, because I didn't come to do a 5-8 or a 5-7 year. You didn't come to do a 6-6 year. Sometimes these things happen, but if you're giving it your all, at least you can say at the end of the day, like, hey, I tried my best, right? Like, at least there's that.
Absolutely.
I feel like
absolutely.
The last 2 games, I can't say, and I'm sure not a lot of guys can't say, that was their ultimate best. And that, to me, is the hardest part of this. Like, it just seems like we're struggling in a lot of different facets of the game. Getting 2 yards seems to be impossible. We're not getting off. We're not, Travis's offensive guys do. We can't get a first down. Like, that's really frustrating. So who's going to say, hey, follow me? Hey, I'm going to catch that ball. Hey, I'm going to make a play. Just throw it to me. I don't care what happens. Where's a Travis Beckum saying, give me the ball more?
And that's the hardest thing. Because I remember TD just running around, and some of the throws that he would throw to me, it was like a prayer, like almost like, man, if Travis is in the area, he's going to go up and make a play. You catching the ball at the highest point. You seeing guys on the defensive ball or the defensive side of the ball waiting for interceptions that could change a game. Go get the ball. I just it's yeah, it's extremely frustrating because I wouldn't be this upset if the trajectory during the season wasn't there. I mean, and again, it comes down. A lot of this comes down to the hype. And when we say hype, I'm thinking from the outside in because I still think to this day that Coach Fickle is a legend and is going to 100% turn this program around. But at the same time, when you listen to a guy that is within the program and it's like he doesn't think that everyone's bought in, that's not a good look. That's not a good look. The guys got to figure out what they want to do. And again, I don't think the transfer portal is to any help in regard to having guys to actually buy in. But it's a part of college football that unfortunately we have to deal with.
Well, and I think that something that Coach Fick has mentioned many times is that like transfer portal is a Band-Aid to that, but the real culture change will come with recruiting. And, you know, they've got a solid 2024 class in line to come in, but it's still, you know, I think we all got caught up I definitely got caught up in the hype. For sure. I definitely got caught up. I was drinking all the Kool-Aid. I was pouring it for other people, telling everyone how awesome and tasty this Kool-Aid is. But
putting all the sugar in. Because you know you can't drink no Kool-Aid with no sugar.
Dude, I was drinking that Kool-Aid and sharing it too.
But I'm curious if, you know, the injuries on the offensive side of the ball, I think have not helped matters at all between going from Mordecai to Locke back to Mordecai. Braylon has been in and out. Ches is out. Chimmery has been in and out. The tight end attrition right at the beginning of the season has led to definitely to some inconsistencies. But even in my worst case scenario thoughts, I didn't think the offense would be this stagnant and have so many 3, 4 and outs all the time. What issue on the offensive side of the ball, like if you could wave a magic wand, Travis, and say, I'm going to fix this specific issue with the offense, what would you want to fix?
This specific issue? I mean, consistency from the receivers. Okay. Drops, balls that are going to you. Ches was extremely beneficial towards Braylon. Coach Fickle's offense last year had 2 tight ends that were Mackey Award finalists. Again, this is us bringing in an offense to fit players that we currently have. Obviously, we have an early season. Unfortunately, my homie Clay Cundiff goes. We are in, and then Hayden Rucci is a great football player, but we're having him play in a position where he's not. That's not his bread and butter, and I respect the heck out of him. Because as much as I love my receiving tight ends, I'm just having a conversation with him about blocking and catching the balls and scoring touchdowns. He's like, man, Travis. He goes, I love being in there knocking people out and blocking. And I'm like, man, you ain't gonna never catch that. Me saying that, and which is why I respect him. And this goes to the point of this offense being put in effect with guys that really aren't molded for that position. And again, it comes down to the point where it's like, okay, well, how many years do we have to wait till the next recruiting class? And it's like when you wear that motion W, there's no days off. There's no bad season. No, you are held to a certain expectation. And as much as we knew that next year or the year after was going to be our year, we still wanted it for this year. And once we see this, especially losing to an Indiana team, a Northwestern team, an Ohio State team that we could have beat, and it's Yeah, it's
And unfortunately, that
frustrating.
Washington State loss looks worse and worse because they have taken a nosedive recently as well. So you can't even really count that as a quote good
Yeah,
loss anymore
yeah.
because they're now near the bottom of the topsy turvy Pac 12.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I want to get your insights a little bit more on the offense first here. I think I want to talk about the defense as well. But one of my big issues has been the offensive line this year. I think the offensive line this year has had a lot of struggles. And, I know you've had to adapt to a bunch of different offensive styles when you were as a player from not just switching positions at Wisconsin, but then going to the pros, running completely different systems in New York than you ran in Wisconsin. Do you think that the offensive line struggles are just a matter of new scheme, or is there something else going on there?
I think there's something going on. Like there's something else going on there. I mean, this is because how many of the starters started for this year were the starters for last year?
Four. Yeah, four. Kind of 3.5,
Okay.
3.5 to 4, depending on like Bordellini kind of moved around a lot last year and is starting this year.
And this comes down to us figuring out the last two games of the season, and one of them being an extremely important game with getting that axe. But what I saw from last year, when we had the opportunity to win a football game, and it came down to the offensive line penalties, starting at the 5-yard line, and it's transpired to this year, and it's like, okay, well, we come in with a new offensive line coach, new offensive scheme. Like, is this going to be completely different? And I've seen games where we just got our butt whooped. And again, that is besides running back. That is, and I love my tight end you too, running back you. But other than that, this school has been known for its offensive linemen. And we have not held that reputation the last several years. It's frustrating.
Well, Travis, that's when we asked you, like, what I think the biggest things about the offense to me is consistency at the O-line, because sometimes we play really well and then sometimes we have 5 penalties in a row and it kills drives. I think if we had now, this is ridiculous, but if we had a Joe Thomas left tackle, yes, Joe Thomas is Joe Thomas. But if we had someone within reason, I think we need a left tackle more than anything. And I literally, not because you're on the show, but I think we need a Travis Beckum. Like, we need a dude who can go do the dirty work and not be, like Rucci's is a hand in the dirt type of tight end. He wants to be on the line and put his hand down and go block people and run out for passes and catch them. I get that. He was brought in to do that. So I think those are the things that we're missing that are really hurting this team. And that's just me. I think the O-line inconsistency is killing us, but the drops are killing us. So it's not just it's like I don't know what it is. It's like you keep it's like we're playing quicksand and everyone's trying so hard to get out of it, and we are literally keep digging our grave deeper. And it's just so frustrating to watch. Dude, I can tell you, I dropped one football in 4 years of playing a game. We against Temple, we were on the goal line. I dropped it. Would have been a touchdown. Yeah. We scored 100 points after that. You were there for that. It was my fifth year season. So like that one drop still pisses me off today. It's like I don't even know what's going on. And I caught some ridiculous balls out there. So I don't even know what would be going through my head if I had 2 drops in a game. In one game.
Yeah.
It would just me as like a football player would piss me off. So I'm not seeing that like enthusiasm, desire, dedication to craft. I never saw Lee Evans drop one pass in any single situation except one. We were up, Travis, remember you would step upstairs, like where the meeting rooms were, and we would watch Pro Day. I swear to God, we're watching. Lee Evans dropped the football. All of us are like, yo, did you just see that? And so like
He's human.
All these NFL coaches were up there, and they're like, what'd you guys see? What'd you see? I'm like, Dude, that's the first time I've ever seen Lee Evans drop a pass in my entire life. And they're like, no way. I'm like, okay. And everyone else is like, no. It's like a miracle that he dropped it. So like,
and that's the thing. That's the expectations. Like you expect certain things out of guys. And again, like when we first started this season, I think the first game was like, Will Pauling, and then the next game it was Skylar Bell, and it was like CJ Williams. It's like who are we? Like if we have the opportunity to have these guys step up and play ball, that's three receivers right there. Okay, like, and then you have Braylon within the first 4 games of the season. He's like second on the team in receptions, and so the assets are there. Why aren't we capitalizing on the assets? The ball is that we have the world in our hands. We just got to figure out a way to utilize it. And it's just like there's just guys, and it comes down to like, again, it comes down to expectations, Matt. And when you sit here and we're like, man, like you don't ever see Lee drop balls like that. Like that's stuff that you want to hear. Like, you want to see guys going out, making plays. Man, Skylar Bell's he's made some of the great catches this year. And I'm like, man, keep grinding, kid. And then you have some guys that are just going out there, just going through the motions. And that's what I feel like this is about. And as much as I love Tanner Mordecai, I think he's the real deal. And Braden Locke, yes, I think he's awesome as well. But from a receiving standpoint, we haven't had someone that, and I don't know if they haven't had enough balls during the season, but we haven't had someone that's going to raise their hand and be like, Coach, put the team on my back. I'm taking over.
And do you think that is a product of having a new coaching staff and guys not feeling like they have been empowered to do that? Or do you think that is, just maybe happens to be the makeup of the personalities in the locker room? Like, what do you think accounts for that?
I don't know. That's tough. I mean, it's almost like you're, and again, I named off, and I didn't even say Chim. Like, this is almost like a conversation that I was having with friends earlier. Like, does Damian Lillard not play as good this year because he has Giannis involved? Like, yes, they have the chemistry there, but like, we have the assets, and it goes back to when Michael Vick had Deshaun Jackson and LaShawn McCoy, and what's the receiver number 17? McAvoy. Like, you had all the offensive assets. It's like putting that. Yes, exactly. And it's like you have all the assets, take advantage of it, but it's. I don't know. It's almost like to the point where it's like now we're like, okay, well, this is going to take 2 or 3 years. And I'm type A personality. I'm extremely impatient. I wanted this to happen now. And did I think that it can happen now? Absolutely. Because I think Coach Fickle is a great coach. And we have people on the team that can get the job done. Obviously, injuries is one thing, but I guess I'm going to just jump on the train and say that it's going to take 2 or 3 years.
Well, what's exciting is, as you say that, is that we have great recruiting classes already started. And that is something we haven't seen. And we have 2 tight ends now. Matt Perkins, we're back to 2 tight ends.
We're still at 1 tight end committed right now.
And 1 guy maybe flipping. So we are at 1 tight end, but who could be that guy? So all these things excite me. When you said about like that character that, dude, we had Lee Evans, who was it? We had Jonathan Orr, Darren Charles. None of these guys were outspoken. Like, Lee was a lead by example, not a like get in your face guy. Brandon Williams showed up as like an 18-year-old little kid, and he was a little kid and talked more smack and told everyone he was going to be the best. And then did it. He did it in every single way. He was on special teams, but the dude, I loved him to death, but he would piss me off because he'd be in the weight room like, Coach, make this harder. I'm like, no, dude, don't make it harder. Yeah. You got these little mini weights, bro. Like, the big guys are doing the heavy weights. But But like that's a guy that pushes dudes. You know, he was not a captain, at least when I was there, he wasn't. But he pushed everyone to get better. And if we weren't, you knew about it. He talked so much smack in a maybe not a positive way, but it made defensive guys better. But I feel like we're missing, you know, guys can be like that. I don't know. Maybe they can because of social media. Like, what do you guys think? Can you be that guy now? I feel like you can. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, some guys lead by example. They just go out and play and just keep their mouth shut. Some guys lead vocally. I mean, if you watch, it's crazy to watch stuff like the Florida documentary. And you would have guys that would be in the locker room fighting each other because you've messed up on a play. And it's like, you're not only messing up for yourself, but the guy next to you, the guy next to him. Like this is our legacy. This is our legacy. And a lot of it comes down to the mental stuff, but it's you gotta have someone that's not afraid to speak up. And again, you can have all of the coaches preaching to you and telling you exactly what needs to be done, but there needs to be somebody that's having meetings without any coaches speaking up, being like, "This is my team. This is our team. This is our team. We're not going out like this, like this." And again, it comes down to, for instance, last year, you see Nick Herbig and Keon, like those are the leaders of the defense. Like you see that. You watch film. And I love going into this season, obviously seeing the guys working out with Coach Fick and all the guys wrapped up amongst each other. And this is a team. But those videos are a completely different picture of what we are currently hearing now.
Attention athletes. Do you want a frictionless and tailored financial planning experience to secure your future? Well, look no further. Introducing Oak Bridge Wealth Management, the premier financial planning firm for professional athletes. Led by wealth manager Chris Anicetti, our team provides a unique and comprehensive approach, ensuring your financial success both on and off the field. We understand the unique challenges you face as a professional athlete, from managing cash flow habits to planning major business purchases and navigating complex contracts. That's why we've developed a proven process, working closely with our strategic partners to provide seamless solutions for your unique financial journey. Our services evolve with your career, offering short, mid, and long-term goal setting, portfolio optimization, real estate investments, and more. As you transition to life beyond the field, we support you with career development and philanthropic ventures. But don't just take our word for it. Top NFL players like Chase Roulier, Tyler Biadasz, Alec Ingold, and more trust Oak Bridge Wealth Management to guide them towards financial success. Troy Dye of the Minnesota Vikings says, "I really love the work that Chris and the rest of the Oak Bridge group do. I especially like the honesty and transparency when it comes to setting up financial goals and plans that best fit my needs and situation. It's time to elevate your financial game plan. Connect with Chris on Instagram at OakBridgeWM_Anicetti. That's OakBridgeWM_ANICETE. And join the winning team."
Travis, do you think, because it's hard to picture all that work, all that coming together, doing that stuff in the stadium, all doing lunges the whole way, connected.
Yeah.
Do you think there was a fracture point after the Ohio State game that like something happened either in the locker room or in a meeting with a coach, without a coach? Like, it just seems like our team really took a nosedive, and it doesn't make sense.
Couldn't have been.
It just doesn't make sense. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like, is as excited as I could get about a loss, that was the game. I'm like, man, we're back. And you go in and play an Indiana team, like, you would think the guys, the camaraderie, the guys would be like, hey, this is a great football team that we're playing. Do I think Ohio State is Ohio State from last year or years ago? No, absolutely not. Do I think the Big Ten is extreme? Was here and is here now? Yeah, yes, it's very low. But at the same time, we still need to take advantage of the opportunities that we have to come back and potentially beat an Ohio State team that we could have beat. And then we go in and spank an Indiana team that we're like, it hit me hard because I scored my first touchdown against Indiana. And like we played Indiana and it was like 60-0. So like, and again, you can't judge the future based off of the past, but at the same time, I think that we played our overall best game of football. We were together against Ohio State, and I was excited about what we were going to see at Indiana. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was golfing during the Indiana game. Want to know why? Because I felt like we learned something about ourselves against Ohio State. But lo and behold, I was watching the game in the fourth quarter. I'm like, oh, hecky no, not this. And I'm to the point where it's like I'm cheering for us to beat an Indiana football team. And I'm like, let me think about that. Like what we've done in the past and where I thought we were going is very unfortunate. Like I thought we really found out something about ourselves against Ohio State. And then the next 2 weeks have just been a disaster.
I mean, I don't know this. Matt Perkins, you might say that we have not lost back-to-back games to terrible teams in a very long time. Travis, you lost 4 games to some of the best teams in the Big Ten, and especially 20 years ago or 15 years ago when you played, those teams were – Michigan State was at the –
20 years ago. Whoa.
I know, that's
whoa.
me. I know. I'm sorry, dude. But, like, like those teams, you're saying you went up against 4 out of the 5 best teams in the Big Ten and lost. But you probably competed. You probably didn't unravel. That's what makes me nervous about this team is that it seems like we're unraveling. And I'm excited that Hunter Wohler is like, listen, we're gonna get after it because he wants to tighten that up. I want to go to a bowl game. I want to win at Nebraska. I think it's a winnable game again. I think it's one that we have to point to and say, hey, if you guys want to play football, even if it's not here, you got to – I can't use these terms anymore, but you got to put the helmet on, put the chin strap on, and get your ish together.
Yeah.
Because you have to win this, or else if you try to transfer, like transferring to the transfer portal is not a guaranteed you're going to go somewhere. So you have to prove that you can be somewhere. That's what's also nuts. Nobody knows it. There are people who just live in the transfer portal. It's like free agency in the NFL. Right? There's no guarantee you're going to go to a team. You have to prove that you are a good football player. So I want everyone to prove on Saturday that they're a good football player and that they can, if they want to, go play somewhere else. But I want to win, man. Listen, Travis, I don't know about you, but I would be happy winning this game and going to a bowl game.
We better win this game. And the guys, I tweaked my hamstring at volleyball last Wednesday. And guys, it's like I'm walking around the suites, and guys are like, "Hey, Travis, do you have any eligibility left?" And it's like, it's almost like, well, physically, I can't do it, but my heart 100% can. And it's like, I just wish that some of these guys would step up. This means so much more than it's.
I mean, we can hear the pain in your voice. We can hear the pain in Bernie's voice, and we've heard this pain from a lot of former Badgers, and the pain, the frustration, and the, not just like wishing it would, be here already, but, feeling like, we've seen at least them been putting in the works from what we have seen, from what we've seen at practice, what we saw at Squat Fest, what we see all over the place, and for it to not manifest as quickly as we would have liked, we expected. is a tough pill to swallow at times. And so, like, for this coming weekend, just for this one game against Nebraska, I know, you talked about consistency a lot, Travis. And so, I mean, the group that we talked about, I want to see some better consistency from this weekend, though, is on the defensive side of the ball, is the cornerbacks. Because we've seen some great games from Ricardo Hallman, but we've also seen some really bad coverages from the cornerbacks in the last couple games as well. And I think part of that is matchups, right? Like, you see Maitre, who's 5'8" with lifts on, covering a receiver who's 6'5" in the slot, and they're throwing a slot fade. It's like, what's he going to do against Indiana? But still, like, I still feel like there needs to be a lot of improvements just across the board. But what this weekend do you want to see out of the team that you think can make them, beat another former Big Ten West power with a new head coach?
Well, I know Hunter Wohler is going to go out the rest of the season with a bang. Latu, Ricardo Holman. I know in the beginning of this season there's games where it's like we're trying to figure out what we're going to do on the defensive side of the ball. If we're going to run man coverage all the time, he was getting beat. When we started winning football games, we're saying that he was the greatest thing. And then all of a sudden, like, you see times where we're getting beat. And again, you said in the slot, like, get up. Yes, the guys we might be 5'11" on the defensive side of the ball. And he might be 6'4". Get up and jam him. Put your chip. And I want to see the defensive lineman get some pressure on the quarterback. I want to see whoever we have at quarterback, because Lord knows who we're going to have at quarterback right now. I want to see a receiver step up, take some accountability. Take some accountability. I want to see guys getting thrown. I want to see some intensity. And I haven't. You watch some of these teams from the SEC. What's the quarterback's name that was at Indiana last year? That's now at Washington.
Oh, Michael Penix Jr.
That man is good. I want to see guys step up, have the opportunity to play, lights out. Somebody make a play and put the team on their back. Like I want guys to walk off the field with swagger. It's almost like if you played last year or if you played this past game, every single person that was in a relationship probably should have broke up with their significant other after that game. Like, come on, guys. You should be disappointed. Like, I want guys to step up, and I know it's there, and that's the worst part. If I hadn't seen it already in these guys, I wouldn't expect it. And which is why I expect more from these guys. Okay? And again, it started here and now we're going downhill. This is why I'm so upset. And
Nope. You are saying the right things. If I could have one wish for this Saturday, it is literally to stay on the field as the offense. I don't care how we do it.
Yeah.
Just to get some third downs, stay on the field, give our defense a break. Dude, our defense is only letting up 21 points a game in the last couple of games. Like, that's not so bad. Like, that's really not. And some of, like, they're playing tough. They're just playing a majority of the football game, so teams have the opportunity to score on them. I want us to get on the field, and I want us to stay on the field. So whatever that is to do, first down, second down, or third down, it is to just do it. I need more offense. I can't. 3 and outs are killers. They're game killers, and we're just doing that consistently.
On the flip side, though, the defense has to get off the field on third down because they let Northwestern.
They let up 10 in a row. Sure.
10 on third down this past week. Like,
true, but they only gave up 21 points.
21 or 24. This past weekend was 24.
Yeah, it was 24.
24-10. Yeah.
What was the last weekend before?
The Indiana was 20. I want to say 17-10 or something like that. It's been bad. You know what? Here's the answer. It was bad. The answer is that it was bad. It was bad. It was bad.
We're not getting blown out. That's what's crazy. Also, we just can't score. So you're giving offenses.
Yeah, we're also playing teams that we shouldn't. Like,
we're
not.
All true.
Yeah, like
we just need to stay on the field.
Like, coming into those games, like, two of the worst offenses in Power 5 football. Like, And, especially when you see Northwestern come out and score touchdowns in their three first drives, like 3 straight drives with a touchdown.
Yeah, that was tough.
That's disheartening. And then not getting a pass rush on top of that. Like, so you're not forcing plays, you're not making big plays, you're not forcing turnovers. And,
but no points in the second half.
Who would win this Sunday? The Packers versus the Badgers.
The Packers.
Yeah. I mean, the Packers still
an NFL team
still have more talent. I mean, like, even.
Okay, well, I was expecting you guys to be a little bit more like.
I mean,
to be fair, in the pudding type
if they played my Bills, I think
Travis, I have this conversation with everyone about the Jets.
Don't bring up the Giants now, because my Giants now. If I said the Badgers played the Giants, I'm probably taking the Badgers.
I think everyone
right now, I would. I mean, dude, I love the fact that the quarterback still lives at home and his mom makes his bed and dinner.
He's also
that would be me
guy of all.
That would literally. I was going to say that would literally be you, Matt.
I love it. I'd be there I would live at home for the rest of my entire career.
Yeah, but would you admit that your mom made your bed? Like, living at home, okay, I save money, that's one thing. But like, hey, my mom makes my bed every day. Like, maybe you don't let everyone know that.
Well, maybe he's so excited about getting up in the morning, running straight to work, like he doesn't have time to make his bed. It's like, hey, Mom, you think you could do me a favor? And
true.
I mean,
there you go.
It sounds like heaven, is what it sounds like.
Matt, to go back. I mean, besides the mother still making my bed aspect is heaven, because that is absolutely true. To go back, I think a lot of times, a lot of things that I've noticed again too from the offensive side of the ball is that I don't know if it's the receiver, I don't know if it's the route calls. But it seems as if we're running if it's 3rd and 7, the guys are running the routes at 3rd and 6. Like they're running it short. How many times has it been 4th and 1, 4th and 2? It's like, come on, fellas, let's be smart about this. It's too close for comfort, and we have not capitalized on the opportunities that we've had, and we're in the predicament that we are now.
Yeah.
Too many times. I don't know if that's the route tree. I don't know if that's the read.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I do know is if we were running a 5-yard hitch and you had to get 7 yards, you ran a 7-yard hitch or a 6 yard and then you had to muscle it up to get a yard.
Yeah.
Like I completely agree with you. If it's 3rd and 4, we're running 2-yard routes and getting tackled right away, and you're like, no, not again. And then short yardage to me has been so hard for us. And that's just so bizarre in just, like as a Wisconsin fan, usually short downers was like our bread and butter. So it's just hard to also break that mindset too, right? Now to say we should always be good at these things, but we will be eventually. We have to figure it out. We need a lot of things have to happen. This year is going to be a tough one to stomach for the rest of the season, but we need dudes to step up. And I think a lot changes from this year to next year.
Matt, do you think Braylon needs a fullback?
I think Braylon I don't think he needs a fullback. I think he needs, I like him out of the pistol. I think Chez is the guy who lines up next to the quarterback. I don't think Braylon is that guy. I think he's a one back. He can be a one back, but he needs to be a little bit off the ball and coming downhill and making some solid cuts. He's not okay. He's not. That's
not so much east and west.
That's just what listen. I think the dude is amazing. So I'm not taking anything away from him, but his game is different than a Brian Calhoun's. Do you know what I'm saying? Like Brian Calhoun out of the shotgun was unbelievable. Chez is that guy. Yeah. I don't think he needs a fullback, but I think it wouldn't hurt. But dude, him downhill he's a monster, man. I want to see more.
And that's where I'm
with
Bernie, because I want to see him. I don't think he needs a fullback. I think he would have been. He'd be just fine in a world where it's 1 back, 2 tight ends, or even 11 personnel. He can, but if he doesn't get that head of steam, if he has to wait for those lollipops to hit the quarterback's hand, and the quarterback can turn and hand it off to him. It's been 1.5 seconds by the time the ball is in his hand, and he's not already moving when he gets the ball. He's not a fast accelerator. He's not a 4.3 guy, right? He takes a second to get that momentum going. Once it's going, you don't want to get in the way. But it takes a couple steps. And whereas, like you mentioned BC, Bernie, like Brian Calhoun can accelerate with the best of them. I mean, he was a NCAA star sprinter, right? A Michael Bennett, same kind of thing. Jonathan Taylor, same thing. This is not like, he is not Jonathan Taylor. He is a very different style of back that, to me, just doesn't, if you're going to utilize him in this offense, like, he has to just get downhill quicker. Like, you just have to give him the ball in a different kind of way. And I just like these little dink and dunk swing passes to him and stuff like that. Like, it's not working.
So what about putting him at Wildcat, in the Wildcat?
Sure.
Man, I need it. What a coinky-dink. Wow, I like that idea. We did that. Was it last year that we did it? Would Jimmy put him in the Wildcat, didn't he?
Yeah, he was put in the Wildcat a little bit last year.
Oh, that's right. He threw Ches a touchdown, right?
Yeah.
Why not?
I'm not a Wildcat fan. It works like 1 out of every 10 times.
You're a fullback.
There's a little bit of that.
Be a Wildcat.
But listen, you're not right, Matt Perkins. To go off with this, to me, and I'm not asking Braylon Allen what his favorite things are, but when he stands at 7 yards and he can take a 0.5 seconds to get a landmark, get downhill, get behind it, let the linemen make their blocks or miss them, because you have a little bit of an extra step, right?
Mm-hmm.
He can do. He's been proven to do things.
Yes.
Listen, at 5 yards, it's difficult. You get the ball at 4.5 yards, and by the time you look up, like, you're in the mix instead of getting it at 5.5 yards. And when you look up, you're like, I can still take 2 steps to get to the line instead of take 1.5. It's just a different, it's a whole different.
Yeah.
Listen, Anthony Davis, great at it. Fast as hell, got on people's heels, made jump cuts. You also got to trust that, like, people are going to get washed. Linebackers are going to flow. You got to trust these things. It's not easy to start trusting right away. I will toot it for a second, though. And at Michigan State, we got blown out, though. I had a touchdown out of the shotgun, and it's only because I'm slower than Anthony Davis. So when I got the ball, the line did their job because I was so slow to get. I wasn't fast. By the time I got up on their heels, these dudes flowed all over the place. They thought AD was getting the ball. So all the flow was there, and I just cut back and ran right 9 yards, right down the middle.
Yeah. Because
you allow the line, and we had a stellar line, though, but you allow these dudes to do their jobs, and you make the read. So to me, that's, listen, I'm sure they do this, but Coach White asked AD, hey, man, what are your favorite plays? We ran those plays because AD liked them. That to me is important. Trav, I'm sure they ask you, okay, what's your favorite pass routes? And they're like, okay, well, let's throw Trav. He loves these. You're going to do it a little bit better if you love it. Just because. There's no real – you're still going to run the corner because you love it. But whatever your stick route or whatever your favorite thing was, you're going to be like, man, I'm going to do that. I'm pumped because they asked me and I have buy-in.
Yeah, and that's a good point. Is that just briefly on what you just said is that I think us as humans, we get to the point where it's like, okay, well, we like it because we're good at it, we're comfortable with it. What is the offense? What has the offense been comfortable with that they've done well? Like, are we even to that stage? Do we know that? Like, we got 2 games left, and it's like, when is enough enough? So that's an extremely good point, Matt.
And to that point, it's been hills and mountains and cliffs.
Valleys?
That's not right. Mountains and valleys. Like, we've shown some amazing, dude. When we came back to beat Illinois and Will Pauling had that sick catch bomb, he went up and got it. I'm like, man, that's the team. That's what I expect. And then it's like, then we're down. We're like, oh my God, we're like 6 for 17 on third downs. You're like, what happened? And so, like, the peaks and valleys have been hard to also watch as a fan and a couch potato, like I like to say.
Yeah.
But I don't think we have an identity on the offense as of yet. I think I think injuries have hurt us, and I think penalties and drive stopping things, drops, whatever you name it, have been really our Achilles heel on the offense. And having no fullback, probably.
So I still like Jackson Aker. I still like Jackson
Like him as
Aker.
an athlete.
I like Tucker Ashcraft as a tight end. I mean I think there's potential. I still love Rucci. I mean, we got several guys at the receiver position that have the potential to be really, really, really good.
Yeah,
and
Bryson Green at all tonight, and I think he
exactly, and that's the thing. And that's the thing. It's like as much as I love, I think it was against Indiana. It was against Indiana when I'm like, man, like, I see him running down the field, getting ready to run into the end zone. I thought it was me for a second. And wearing the number 9, I'm like, man, go ahead, Trav. And but that's the stuff you want to see. Like, you want to see guys stepping up, having the opportunity. Like, it feels so good to run back to that sideline after a touchdown and having the guys congratulate you. Man, good man. Let's go out and do it again. It's like, I thought that we could have been somewhere again after the Ohio State game. And it was just like, man, where's Waldo? Where did we go?
Where's Waldo? And we're in the big book, and it's hard to find. It's really hard to find. We're not in the little book.
Yeah. And all of our belongings are strewn all over the page. Gotta go.
It's
find
that one where everyone looks like wears the same the Waldo sweater.
Yeah,
everyone's got the Waldo. Where's Waldo? I have to go buy that book.
Too much Wandos.
I love it. Too much Wando. Where's Matt Bernstein and Wandos? Random story, but some woman at this workout class was named Wanda, and I was like, Wandos. I love that. That's your name from now on in my brain. Listen, I actually really like Jackson Aker. I just think he's a tackle guy, and we're like throwing swing passes to him. I think some guys are playing outside of their comfort level, but
they are
outside of their level of like their athleticism. And I think he can catch the ball, which is why they do it. But he is a downhill blow somebody up guy. I love it.
Yeah.
Yakimelli to me is the guy they should be throwing a pass to. He's a little bit more shifty or better in space. That's just me. But if his hands aren't as good as Jackson's, and it's a null point or whatever that is. But it's just like everyone. It just feels like everyone is still trying to figure out how they fit in the offense individually, and it must be hard for them. It's hard to watch. It must be hard for the coaching.
Yeah.
It's hard all around. I'm always the fair weather saying this is the game we're going to turn it around. It's Nebraska. They're not having a great season.
It's a night game.
It's a night game in Madison. Man.
We're going to be in the crowd. Going to put it
exactly. If you guys don't run on the field, don't run on the field. And it's just like, obviously now, like, looking from the outside in and seeing, like, watching these night games and seeing these young fellas on the field, and in talking to season ticket holders or donors, and just guys having the opportunity to realize like what it actually means to play for this university. Like, it honestly means so much more than you running down that football field and doing your job. Like, it's these fans. We expect so much out of these guys, in which we really should, because we have a privilege that people would literally die. Like, I literally have people now that reach out, Trav, can you please just take me on the field? Like, it's like, these guys have opportunities to work out on the field, run on the field, sleep on the field if they want to, throw up on the field like I used to back in the day. And these people that don't have that opportunity just want a taste of what they have. These guys need to take advantage of the opportunity and never take that stuff for granted. And you just see some of the guys that are going through the motion, and it's frustrating because I don't want these guys to sit back and tell their kids or watch film the year after they're done playing ball and they don't make it to the league and be like, man, I wish I would have had that opportunity again. You never know what you have until it's gone. And like, there's so many people that want what you have. Be a dog, go get it. Let's go eat.
I think that is the perfect place to wrap it up then for this episode.
Let the big dog eat. I love it.
I'm excited to be back in the house this weekend for the game. I'm excited to see you guys there at the game. We're excited to see all of you listening. Hope to see you in Camp Randall this weekend against Nebraska
Or Wandos.
God.
Or wherever else.
You're like 25.
You may
don't end up at the KK, man.
I haven't ended up there in a long time. I can't pay to get in, man. I'm broke. Also, $50 goes a long way at every other bar, dude. That's like 10 beers at least.
You want me to call Jordan for you?
No, it's okay. It's okay. They don't want me there. Believe me. I'm not bringing anything special anymore. I promise you.
I am. It's going to be fun. We're going to see you. Travis, where can people find you out online, out in the world these days?
My Instagram is, I think, Travis Beckum 47. All of my social handles are Travis Beckum 47. Obviously working with UW, doing corporate sponsorships, being an asset to UW. Obviously now, being an advocate and helping our athletes get these NIL deals, in which Matt and I wish we would have had back in the day. Obviously, Matt could have been an underwear model.
Yeah.
But yeah, just being engaged with the guys, being an asset, being an avenue, and still trying to be a part of this legacy, this university. And I'm looking forward to these next 2 weeks. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys this Saturday.
It's going to be great. I can't say enough. I'm looking forward to it. It's, you know what? It's my birthday present to my, from my wife and me to myself.
Okay.
To come back for the weekend.
Nice.
I'm going to enjoy it. It's going to be her first Badger game, so I'm really excited to take her to her first Badger game. So.
Okay.
It'll be a lot of fun. So, and like I said, awesome. We hope to see you all there. We'll also be back again next week with, the usual Monday morning fullback talking about the game, with more of our friends coming back in the mix. Actually, next week we will have Warren Herring on with us for our midweek interview. And we'll be back with more of that next time here on Believe in Badgers on the Believe Network, presented by betonline.ag and Oak Ridge Wealth Management. Thanks for tuning in. And until next time, on Wisconsin.
On Wisconsin.
On Wisconsin.
Do the Monday morning hang.